Welcome to r/ProRevenge, where a freshman in college takes revenge against a disgusting and unsanitary school cafeteria. And the first story is called, It's Not Just the Food That's Revolting. Back in my college days, I lived on campus and ate the 20 meals a week meal plan at the cafeteria. It was terrible. Seriously. I know people complain about their college cafeteria all the time, but they still gain their freshman 15, referring to the 15-pound weight gain as a freshman in college. I lost mine. The food was disgusting. Sunday spaghetti was made from tomato sauce and Saturday's cheap hamburgers. One week, they didn't even bother ripping up the hamburgers. Watery, saucy tinted, overcooked noodles garnished with dry, leathery, 2-day-old hamburger patties. It was still better than the other options. At first, they had a make-your-own pizza line, but removed it because everyone was using it, and quote-unquote, bread isn't cheap. I remember seeing a real salad in their Healthy Eats line and getting excited because it's hard to screw up salads, only to realize that it was literally floating in oil. The salad on the actual salad bar was not an option. It was changed out every morning, whether it needed it or not. Oh, sorry, I meant the ice in the salad bar, not the salad. No. A student wrote his initials in the tuna and it remained for a solid week. Sometimes the salad would grow its own salad. They had a big board set up for student complaints, and they would write responses back. Oddly enough, the board rarely had bad things to say. The manager, may he be haunted by 1,000 bedbugs, confessed that he didn't have time to answer every complaint, but he did read every one, and took the complaints into consideration. And, as far as we could tell, threw away all the ones he didn't like. At one point, the board of trustees wanted to meet with the students. Only a handful of students, but I got my name on the list. The food for that meeting was catered by the cafeteria. Basic sandwiches, if I recall. Still, the first step of any revenge is to make a big deal out of it. And boy did I. Oh man, this sandwich has real lettuce on it? This is way better than what the cafeteria usually serves. And the meat doesn't even have a rind on it. The trustees laughed it off. Surely it wasn't that bad, right? I didn't even have to answer. The other students filled in the details, forcefully, for the rest of the meeting. It was supposed to be about general issues, but it became yell about the food situation. It was awesome. The administration, with the trustees yanking on their ear, had a talk with the cafeteria manager. And thus, steak and shrimp night was born. It was touted as a really big deal, where they were going all out with super awesome food. Both the administration and the cafeteria promised great things. The students almost believed them. They made such a big deal out of it. The doors opened and someone was there handing out tickets. 1 ticket each, and you could use it to either get a steak or some shrimp. A leathery, overcooked, gristly, thin, tiny steak, or 6 micro-sized overcooked popcorn shrimp. Students left to eat ramen in their dorms in droves. People were angry. Students flooded the comment box with so many comments, the top actually broke off from the interior pressure. And the next day, the comment board had a single note on it, thanking the staff for the delicious meal. Now, the organization that ran the cafeteria was run by corrupt, money-grubbing jerks, but they were based out of state and super cheap, so there was no way we can touch them. Plus, a lot of the employees were actually really nice people. It was the manager and his ogre, wife, that were the problem. There was no way to fix it. Until survey day. A few weeks before the end of the semester, desperate for more than 6 entries total, the cafeteria was giving away a bike. Anyone who filled out a survey was entered for a chance to win. Not that anyone cared. The students had been endured so long, they assumed the bike would be won by the manager. And having their name attached to the survey was extra super bad. I, however, hatched a plan. The poor lady handing out the surveys was not allowed to do anything else that day. She was the survey lady. End of story. And she was supposed to stay until the last survey was handed out. I offered to pass out some surveys, and she gladly accepted. I took a stack of surveys to a back table and filled in every single one of them. Name, phone number, bad, 0, terrible, would not buy again. On to the next. Fun fact, the top of the survey with my name was designed to tear off. My name went into the bowl for the bike drawing, and the survey was submitted suddenly anonymous. I filled out a stack, returned them, then filled out another, and kept coming back until I filled out the very last survey she had. Revenge isn't for quitters. As I walked back to my dorm, my hand was sore, but my heart was light, and so began the falling dominoes. I didn't learn the full story until the next semester, but as it turned out, the survey was the worst on record. Administration, who had been watching closely, noticed. Angry meetings were had. Meetings at the cafeteria didn't cater. The health inspector was invited and gleefully slapped some hefty fines on the parent company. School cafeteria fines are no laughing matter, it seems. By the end of the semester, the manager was collecting his last paycheck. His wife was fired too, probably because she was a troll. Seriously, I'm pretty sure she lived under a bridge and bullied goats. The university got a sweet new please don't tell anyone deal, and oh man, the food! It tasted like food. Glorious day. Oh, and to add insult to injury, I won the bike too. Story number 2 is called Real Estate Revenge. I've been a real estate broker in Chicago for nearly 20 years. I started at a very small independent brokerage. It was my first week there when the broker/owner gave me a lead. He was older and wasn't in very good health, so he passed on a lot of his leads to his agents. One of the broker's friends passed away and the friend's son wanted to sell the house. I called the son, who tells me he's known the broker for 30 plus years and how close their families were. He seemed like a really nice guy. I go over and check out the house. I work up a gorgeous comparative market analysis. I have other brokers check my numbers. I was new and wanted to do a perfect job for my clients. I rehearse my presentation, have my stuff professionally printed, prepare for any possible questions, have responses ready for objections, and I head out. I dazzled this guy with my presentation. He likes the $135,000 list price I recommended. He's fine with the commission. He has no objections, but he asked me to give him 2 months to clean out the house, give his siblings a chance to go through everything, and then repaint. Now, I know how to handle this, but at the time, I just said I'd call him in 2 months to get it listed. Bad move. But I trusted him because he and the deceased father were so close with my broker. I didn't expect what would come next. 3 days later, I'm driving through town, and I see a for sale by owner sign in the yard. That's when I realized that I wasted several hours doing work for him, and he completely bluffed me and used me. I didn't call him back then. Nowadays, I wouldn't either. But that's only because I'd have the listing before he had the chance to put that for sale by owner sign in the yard. Experience counts for a lot. Anyway, my broker was at the city hall about 5 weeks later paying for transfer stamps when he just so happened to notice in the registry that the previous customer was the son. The son had just paid for transfer stamps earlier, which essentially meant that the house had sold. I waited until the prescribed 2 months and called the son for my revenge. I played stupid, and the conversation went something like this. Hey Len, it's OP over at ABC Realty. I figured I'd give you a call to see if you got the house cleaned out and repainted, because I had a relocation company call me with info from a doctor looking to move to the area. When I talked to the guy, I thought about your house and mentioned it to him since it's only 2 blocks from the hospital where he's going to be working, and told him how nice it was. He basically told me to make you an offer sight unseen. I couldn't remember what I said the house was worth, but I told him $215,000. He couldn't believe how inexpensive it was because he's living in New York. He said your house sounds like it's 3 times the size of his and half the price of what he'd pay in New York City. So, I don't remember what I told you it was worth, but he's all cash and wants to be able to move in 3 weeks. So would $215,000 work for you? Because I can write it up, fax it over to him for signatures, and get you done. There was a long silence before he exploded. Len, you effing a-hole! You told me it was worth $135,000. Well, we didn't even list it yet, and it looks like I just got you $80,000 more. What are you all upset about? I just sold that effing house. I sold it for $130,000 because you effing told me that that's what I should expect to get. Oh, damn. You sold it? That's good for you, and good to know that my estimate on the sales price was spot on. Well, no problem. I'm sure I can find something else for my buyer. Screw your buyer. I want $80,000. I don't know where you're going with this. You sold your house for a price you were happy with. I just so happened to get an out-of-towner on a fluke who was willing to pay more. But hey, you sold it and you got fair market value, so you did great. F you, you jerk. I want that $80,000. I've never heard of this before, but if you can get the house back, I can talk to my buyer and see if he'll wait for you to close again. I don't know if that's even a possibility. No, you're going to pay me $80,000. Well, that's not going to happen. I can just hire a professional appraiser to show you that you got market value for your house. My mistake was quoting my buyer the wrong price, not you. You can expect to hear from my attorney. That's fine, but I'm going to have to let you go now, Len. I've got to get over to your old house to see if the new owners will be willing to give me a copy of their appraisal and see if they might want to sell it for a quick profit. You know if they moved in already? Mother effer! And that's when he slammed the phone down. I would never do this now, even though I have plenty of people who waste my time. It comes with the job, and getting upset doesn't make it better. However, I still think about that call today, and while part of me feels like a jerk, I still get a little smile thinking about him kicking himself for screwing me over. And that brings us to the end of today's video. A big thanks to everyone for supporting this channel with your comments, likes, and subscriptions. Also, do you have a story to submit for the channel? Be sure to submit it in the LaughNapkin subreddit, on our Discord server, or leave it in the comments on this video. Thanks again for all of your support, and I'll see you in the next one.